Hi guys! In this video, you will learn how to fabricate a simple trowel based on the given drawings to you. The trowel project has 4 parts, namely the handle, the tang, the ferrule, and the blade. To start our fabrication, we need to prepare the materials and tools we will be needing. 8 mm round bar, 2 by 2 inches lumber, 1.5 mm by 26 mm aluminum tube, 5 by 10 mm rivets, and gauge 16 GI sheet metal. Additionally, sandpaper, mallet, backsaw, steel tape, vernier caliper, tri-square, pencil, marker, vice grip, compass divider, and center punch. Now that we have prepared all the necessary materials and tools, it's time to move on to the actual fabrication process. You may choose which part of the trowel to begin with, since the order can vary depending on your preference. However, in this demonstration, we will start with the tang, the section that connects the blade to the handle. To begin fabricating the tang, prepare a round bar with a diameter of 5/16 of an inch. Measure a length of 150 millimeters, then cut the piece using a cutoff saw. Always wear your face shield for protection and securely clamp the workpiece before cutting to ensure accuracy and safety. After cutting, smoothen the edges using the bench grinder. Once again, wear your face shield for eye protection and remove your gloves before grinding. Based on the provided drawings, mark and lay out the sections of the round bar that will be bent. Once the layout is complete, position the workpiece on the metal bender and prepare to bend the designated sections according to the specifications. After bending the tang according to the layout, the next step is to flatten its upper portion. Secure the workpiece firmly using a vice grip, then place it on the anvil. With a mallet, carefully hammer the section until it is evenly flattened. Always wear your face shield before hammering. After bending, the next step is to refine the tang. Begin by curving the edges of the flattened upper portion using the bench grinder. Once the edges are properly curved, proceed to sharpen the lower portion of the tang with the bench grinder as well. Throughout this process, always wear your face shield. After refining the tang, the next step is to prepare the rivet holes. Lay out 2 holes on the flattened upper portion of the tang, sized for 5 by 10 mm rivets. Ensure that the holes are properly spaced and aligned. Create a center punch mark at each location to guide the drill bit. Once the layout is complete, position the workpiece on the drill press and carefully bore the holes. Always wear your face shield during drilling. Next, smooth out the drilled holes using a metal file to remove any rough edges and ensure a clean finish. We are now finished with the tang part, so let's proceed with fabricating the blade. Using gauge 16 galvanized iron sheet metal, begin by laying out a length of 140 millimeters. Position the sheet metal properly on the foot shearing square, then cut along the marked line to obtain the desired length. Next, mark the width of 100 millimeters on the sheet. Once again, place the sheet metal securely on the foot shearing square and cut along the layout to achieve the correct blade dimensions. Always ensure the sheet is properly aligned before cutting. After cutting the 140 by 100 millimeter sheet metal piece, we will now shape the arc portion of the blade. Begin by measuring 50 millimeters from the edges of the workpiece to locate the center point of the arc. Using a compass divider, lay out a 50 millimeter arc radius on the sheet. Mark the scratches with a marker, then redraw the arc to make the markings clear. Once the arc is marked, cut away the excess material using the foot shearing square. For any small remaining portions that cannot be removed with the shear, use a metal file to carefully smooth and refine the edge. Smoothen the lower edges of the blade with a file too. Afterwards, mark the center of the blade. This will guide you in properly fastening the tang. To achieve the blade's curvature and obtain a chord length of 86.78 millimeters, we will use the slip roll former. Adjust the knobs simultaneously to feed the sheet metal through the rollers. Continue adjusting and passing the workpiece until the desired chord measurement is reached. Always wear your gloves. We are now finished with the blade and will proceed to connect the tang to it. Align the tang along the previously marked center of the blade, ensuring that the flattened portion of the tang rests against the lower edge of the blade. Next, transfer the positions of the tang's holes onto the blade by marking them with a center punch. Once the layout is complete, secure the workpiece on the drill press and carefully bore the holes using a 5/16 inch drill bit. Always wear your face shield. Fasten the tang to the blade using M 5 by 10 millimeter rivets. Position the rivets through the drilled holes, then secure them firmly by striking with a mallet or ball-peen hammer. As you fasten, make sure the tang remains properly aligned with the center of the blade. We will now proceed to create the trowel's handle. Using a 2 by 2 inch lumber, measure and cut a total length of 180 millimeters with a handsaw. Wear gloves before sawing and clamp the wood securely. After cutting, locate the center points of both edges and mark them clearly using a center punch. On one edge, saw along the cross marking to create a guide slot. This slot will serve as the proper attachment point when mounting the workpiece onto the wood lathe. Before operating the lathe machine, make sure you are wearing the required personal protective equipment. This includes your apron, face shield, and, if necessary, a face mask. Mount the prepared workpiece securely onto the wood lathe. Set the tool rest at a safe distance to avoid contact with the rotating workpiece. Remove your gloves when working on the wood lathe. Using the spindle gouge chisel, gradually reduce the diameter of the workpiece until it reaches 35 millimeters. Work carefully and evenly to maintain a smooth finish. Throughout the process, Regularly check your progress with a vernier caliper to prevent over-reduction. After reducing the diameter, mark the important sections of the handle using the provided pattern or by laying out according to the drawing. First, mark the layout lines with a pencil. Then, reinforce them using the parting chisel to create clear guide marks. Next, begin shaping the upper portion of the handle. Carefully reduce its diameter to 23 millimeters using the square point chisel. Again, regularly check your progress with a vernier caliper to prevent over-reduction. Now, we will proceed to taper the handle as shown in the technical drawings. Using the skew chisel, reduce the diameter of the handle after the bulb or marshmallow portion to 25 millimeters. Then, gradually taper the handle down to the desired diameter specified in the drawings. After tapering, refine the bulb or marshmallow portion by creating fillets and chamfers with the skew chisel. Next, use the parting chisel to create a chamfer at the bottom portion of the handle. Finally, finish the handle by sanding it thoroughly with sandpaper to achieve a smooth surface. We are now finished shaping the handle. Carefully unmount the workpiece from the wood lathe, ensuring the machine is completely turned off before removal. Once detached, trim away the upper portion of the handle using a handsaw, leaving a 15 millimeter section intact. This is where we will fit the ferrule. The ferrule is fabricated by cutting a 1.5 millimeter by 26 millimeter aluminum tube to a length of 15 millimeters using the lathe machine. This operation will be performed by our laboratory technicians for precision and safety. With the ferrule completed, fit it onto the handle. If the handle does not slide smoothly into the ferrule, use sandpaper to carefully adjust the fit until it is snug. Use a wooden mallet to properly fit the ferrule. Sand off excess wood with the belt sander. Remove gloves before operating. After fitting, determine the center of the handle and mark it with a center punch. Secure the handle on the drill press, then bore a hole to a depth of 50 millimeters. This hole will serve as the socket for attaching the tang. Always wear your face shield. Attach the blade and tang assembly securely onto the bench vise. Once clamped, fit the handle onto the tang by gently striking it with a mallet to ensure a snug connection. Then, trim away any excess material at the bottom portion of the handle using a handsaw. Sand the bottom portion of the handle for a smooth finish. We are now finished with the trowel. As the final step, you may proceed with the finishing operations. Apply varnish to highlight the natural look of the wooden handle, or paint the trowel to provide added protection and a polished appearance.